All right, so I'm going to try to do this real quick. I'm going to do this morning to help some of you that have tried Count Your Wins. For those of you that are new, this is Count Your Wins, one of the pillars we use for mindset development, neurology change. And at the end, I'll give you a little bit of a explanation of what we're going to do Wednesday, okay, with Learn Your Language. So count your wins. A lot of you are like, I don't have any wins to count, but let's break it down even and shorter. First things I like to do or teach is assign a time during the day you want to do it. Sometimes life gets in the way, and I understand that. But once you've started beginning the habit and doing it at the same time of the day, when something comes up, you're able to push it to another part of the day. And that's the beauty of Count Your Wins. You could even do it mindfully once you get really good at it, but we want to write them down. We'll get into that a little bit. So some of the questions are, how long? As long as you want them to be. I like to start with 10. Sometimes we do 5. Sometimes we do 3. But really, 5 minutes. It literally takes 5 minutes. Having trouble, some of you thinking you don't have 5 minutes. Really? You don't have 5 minutes? Well, if you don't, and 5 minutes doesn't work for you, let's try 3. Maybe 2. 1 minute. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But here's the biggest part of journaling and Count Your Wins. It's the one tip I want to tell you in regards to setting up the journaling process, especially counting the wins. Create an experience around it, right? Don't look at it as a task. I want you to create the experience and enjoy it while you're doing it. Once you start getting into it, you will feel better just as you start to do it. If you think it's a task, it will be a task, okay? And you won't want to do it. Life gets in the way, and, we always wish that there would be no bumps in our road, right? So having to do something that's mindfully aware that helps us grow, we get sidetracked by life. And that's for any goal that we have. But you have to understand that there are going to be bumps in the road, right? But if we eliminated the bumps in the road, if we woke up tomorrow and everything was perfect, how would we grow? How would we learn? How would we move from something different? Wouldn't life be boring? I'd just be honest with you. The bumps in your road, the things that have derailed you in your process of growing, are products of you. And truthfully, you're the ultimate project, right? That's why we're here right here. So let's ask ourselves this. Would we be better versions of ourselves if we didn't take care of ourselves? Just asking. We want to grow, but if we didn't take care of ourselves mindfully, could we even become a better version? Would you be a better parent? Would you be a better student? How about a better spouse? But the most important X factor in all this, and that we're going to teach, is that it's you. If you are not right, if the better version of you will not happen. And it's like this great secret, right? It's like the great secret everyone knows, but to teach it, we give an over-complicated excuse not to do it because we think it should be complicated, but it's not. And I want you to think of it this way. To be the best at anything we have to do, you have to tend to your own garden, right? So it's not the flower that grows out of the soil. We tend to the soil, right? So we have to tend to you. You're the storm. So when I started taking better of myself, my health got better, right? My blood work got better. My sleep got better. My anxiety decreased. My business started to get better. We could go on and on and on, but I tended to the soil to make myself better, okay? So it's not about being self-serving. It's not about arrogance in that aspect. But the truth is, we've always had it backwards. It's about tending to you first. It's about being the greatest version of yourself first. That's when your happiness starts to increase. That's when, if you own a business, it starts to work. And your life starts to get better. So the question becomes, how do we count our wins, right? Well, count your wins is simple. But it's always amazes me at the resistance, including me as I started this, of how we decide in our brain how we're going to count our wins. Because most of us say, I don't have any wins today. Because today was absolute crap. I had a bad day. And truthfully, that bad day might be one email, one bad conversation. And that's really part of the problem. The human brain has evolved over time as this incredibly negative instrument, right? How many times you go to Starbucks with your friend and you just commiserate on bad stuff? But because we've tended to the soil in a negative sense, we feel that the negativity keeps us safe and comfortable. We have to get out of that, you know? But so I ask you this, what if we did the exact opposite and reinforce that you can? Your circumstances, your current circumstances, are not as bad as we see them, right? Our brain just works at seeing them that way, and we perseverate over that. So why count our wins? Because the gray matter of our brain can change. It's malleable. It's proven in pictures and science. And in our teenage years, it's been the most malleable, and that's where we take a lot of our influences from. The synaptic connection, the neural pathways that stay as is because we keep resisting that positive influence. We keep thinking negatively. So if we're constantly hating our job, if we're constantly living in fear, we're constantly shaping our brain around those thoughts, actions, habits, and behaviors, right? That belief system, it bleeds into the perception of who we are, which leads to those actions, habits, and behaviors. And here's the nuance we need to understand in all of this. If you change your circumstances, like winning the lottery, and you have a negative outcome or you have a bad mindset around money, it won't change anything. Okay, we're kind of like a puppet in that way. So counting your wins is a way to start changing your perspective on how the world and you operate within it. It stops you from complaining, because you can't complain when you're doing the work of counting your wins, right? It provides balance between the negative and the positive. And it doesn't matter how old we are. Within days, and provided consistency in those days, the gray matter of your brain will start to change. You will lay down the synaptic pathways, the new neurotransmitter activity, so everything about your perspective about the world and the one about yourself will evolve. So the number one way, the best bang for your buck, and we like to teach it first, is count your wins. So how do you do it? Best thoughts of the day, right? You do it. You count them before you go to bed. That's where I like that time box to happen. Most people review the losses in their day. I'm no different. I had one last night. We think of everything we should have done, should not have done, or we think about the bad things that keeps us going. So our subconscious brain keeps going. It keeps perseverating on those thoughts. So do this instead. Record a list of the wins. Write it down. Say it out loud. About the wins relating to what you did that day that is leading to where you want to go in your life. You have a direction, something you want to achieve. What's moving you forward? I'm not taking these as huge, big wins. It's not the one aha moment, but I'm looking for small ones. Let's say you want to get out of debt in your life and you stay away from Starbucks and you save. That's a win. It's important. It's not the aha moment. Because truthfully, is we always look for the aha moment when we're counting wins at first. But it's the small wins that lead us to that aha moment over time. It's those little wins that help us move forward and constantly move forward. It's all the good stuff that happens. So, finding a time to count your wins, creating consistency in that win, picking the small things in that win. We'll go through this on Wednesday a little bit, and I'll have Margaret explain a little bit how she likes to do it. Life will always get in the way. We want that moment in our life. We want to find that moment. We want an awesome life. We want a great business. We want the body we have always wanted, and we want it. But instead of complaining about everything and complaining about all the bad shit that happens in our day, let's start perseverating on all the good stuff that happens. That's counting your wins. All right? And on Wednesday, what we're going to do is we're going to review Count Your Wins again, go through this a little bit again, and we're going to do a little bit of Learn Your Language, okay, as pillar 2. We're going to start that process. You know, it's one of the second most or first, depending on who you are, mindset growth tools we offer, and it's critical to your happiness, but here's the number one thing. It sucks, okay? And why does it suck? Because the fact is we can walk an entire lifetime with negative, sabotaging, destructive, obstructive, and defeating language in our heads without even knowing it's there. We don't even understand we say it to ourselves. Science, okay, shows us that we can have as many as 100,000 thoughts swirling through our head per day, but only be truly conscious or understand what we're saying most of the time. And what we like to call that, essentially, so we call that the unconscious narrative playing with us, okay? And that narrative repeats itself over and over and over again every single day. And do you know what the suck part is? Sometimes when we become aware of that narrative, we face the reality we don't want to face. Okay? We're more afraid than we realized. We're more stuck than we realized. We're more angry than we realized. We're more sad. We're more worried. Bringing real awareness to ourselves in an immensely important part of releasing ourselves from the limits that have held us back is not what we truly want to do, because it's uncomfortable. All right, so we're going to go through that a little bit. So that was 11 minutes. That's passed. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.